Hello and welcome to the Johnny Blender 2.0 series, part 26. Remember last time when we finished up, we had to fix some of the mesh inside the mouth there, and therefore screwed up the rest of the mesh where all the particles and everything were already applied. So I went ahead and fixed that off camera as I mentioned that I would, and the result is right here. You can notice I did the hairstyle a little different, darkened it up, changed some of the specular settings, went ahead and redid the eyebrows and everything else. I think it honestly looks a little bit better now. A little bit more realistic hairstyle there. But anyway, so that's the way it looks now. And also, if you had the same issue that I had with the having to fix the inside of the mouth, you might have wound up with something like this. You see this dark line around here. And what is that? Well, it's nothing to do with the materials or anything, so don't worry about that. What it is like when we were doing the new teeth, remember we had the issue with the normals. Well, same thing going on right here. So let's just tab into edit mode there, hold down Alt, and just click on the edge there, and we'll just hit Control N, and just go ahead and flip those. And bada bing, good as new. Now, we can go ahead and clean up this just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Clean this up just a little bit. Okay, so we've got a pretty decent working mouth now. So we need to continue painting on our weight paints. So let's turn on the layer that has our rig in it again, and you know what, just so it's not distracting, let's turn off the visualization for all of our particles. Bink, 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 bink. Turn those all off. And you might notice over here also you see two separate armatures, and what that is when we can't remember if I did that on or off camera, but once you delete all your okay, I guess we did it on camera, but when we deleted all the vertex groups and then we applied the armature again, well, the previous one was still on there, and so it got applied once again. So we can just delete out that first one, and then notice that actually we gotta go back to pose mode. There we go, and everything is still okay. Alrighty, so let me go over how I'm going to be doing the mouth area now, because most of the other weights are already painted. Need to go through and take the nose part off of that one. But usually when I'm doing the mouth, to really get good coverage so I can see what I'm doing, I just open it really big, like he's at a crazy insane dentist. Says open wide. Well, he's opening wide, that's for sure. So anyways, I like to open the mouth really wide, and so I can see more of where my weights are. So now we'll grab the model and go to weight paint again. And remember, we're just doing the stretchy parts. And let's make sure we have the right brush selected. Mix, that's good. And we'll just start painting our lips into the weight area. Now it's going to look really crazy here at first, especially since we had to redo that part of the mesh. But we'll get it as we start painting the lips to the mesh. You'll notice it'll start lining up a little bit better. Looks like just a big mess right now, huh? I tell you what, let's try to do this a little bit better. Let's go to our vertex groups over in the object data, and let's go ahead and get rid of all of the mouth stretchy guys. Excuse me. Mouth. Okay, so we'll start right there and just start deleting all of those out. there we go. Okay, so now looks like some of it is still wanting to follow. Perhaps some of it's no. Excuse me. Okay. Trying to think of the easiest way to do this. Tell you what, let's go back to object mode, select one of our bones, and hit A to select everything, and go Alt G, and just set everything back to its standard position. And maybe now we can go into weight paint, and let's hit Z so we can see this a little bit better. And now we'll just start painting in like this before everything goes haywire. And also there won't be any overlap of the previous automatic weights, if that makes sense. So we'll just paint the vertices that are nearby this stretchy bone. Okay. Select this one, do the same thing. Tell you what, I'll go ahead and pause the recorder so you don't have to sit here and watch all through this yet again. And then I'll be right back. So, moving on. Okay, well, I got those pretty well painted on the way they needed to be. And now I'll show you my reasoning behind the extreme pose like I was trying to show you earlier. When you drag something out, say we'll grab this lip and just drag it down, you'll notice whatever mistakes that you've made with your brush, they're gonna follow. See, like inside here we have all of these pieces of the teeth trying to follow our mesh, and since we have it moved out so far, we can get in there behind it and go ahead and take those off. So if we go to subtract right there, or get the subtract brush, I already have it selected, you can just paint in those pieces that are coming off of there that are not supposed to. I can see one piece there. If we go into perspective view, we can kind of zoom in a little further and see and go through the mesh and see that we need to get rid of all of this in here, because none of this needs to follow the lips. And it can take a little while sometimes to get all of that out, because sometimes your brush just paints whatever's behind it. It doesn't matter if the mesh is directly under the brush or, you know, across a gap. If it overlaps it, it's going to paint that weight onto that piece of the mesh. So that's why I'm going to these extreme poses, so you can kind of figure out what's going on. And you'll know when you've cleaned everything up pretty much. Actually, you know one quick way to do this, and it's a lot more accurate as well. If you just tab into edit mode and let's select everything inside the mouth. Actually, let's just select, since we have our teeth as a separate model, if we can get in there. Go into perspective view. Alt hide. There we go. So they were hidden. So if we unhide them, we automatically have everything selected. So what we can do is just go through each one of these stretch bones that is attached to the lip and just remove this whole section of vertices from all of those. So just remove, and as I said, it's a lot more accurate because you're removing everything rather than just trying to, you know, paint it out. So now we tab back into weight paint mode. You can go in and see. Might have missed one little spot. So let's tab back into edit mode and make sure we get all of these mouth settings. So right there, remove, 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 remove. I think we did all the other ones, but why not go ahead and do it again just for... There we go. So now we tab out. You'll see that none of the teeth and gums are deformed now. So our lips are independent of our teeth, which is the way it should be. Okay. So now we need to apply the teeth to something, because you know they don't stand stock still. So another quick easy way, tab into edit mode. This time we'll go into side view, and let's just select the teeth and the tongue right there. So we'll just select those two faces like that, and then Control L. Okay, and then we'll go over here in our vertex groups to our jaw right there, and go ahead and assign those to the jaw. And then we'll select the top layer of teeth and gums, and that guy as well. There we go. And we'll assign these to the head. So there we go. So now when we open our jaw, let's just go back to object mode so we can see a little bit better. Tab into solid view. If we grab our jaw and move it down, you can see that we still need to work on the lips a little bit, but the teeth follow the jaw. And if you look at the top teeth, they follow the head. They stay put. So let's clean this up a little bit more, and then we'll stop messing with it. And I want to show you a couple more things, and then we'll call this series done. So hold on to your hats. We're almost there. So we'll just go into weight paint mode again, and let's get these little orphans that are kind of just sticking out here. Make sure we go to add and just gently touch these up. Actually, let's Z into this view so we can see them a little bit better. And let's set our strength down a little bit. Now if you're doing this and you accidentally run it over the teeth again, no big deal. You can just do like I showed you a second ago and just go into edit mode and just remove them like that. And chances are you're probably not going to have your character opening his mouth this big anyway, so even the gums and things the way we have them now are probably just fine. But okay, so let's go to object mode now. Zoom back into solid view. Let's select a bone and then select all of them and clear out all their locations. And now let's go ahead and close his mouth. Let's move the jaw up a little bit so those teeth will go together, and then we can grab these lips and go ahead and just move them up. And if we turn that layer off, you can see, well, he's got a closed mouth now. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to show you, you might want to play with some of the weight painting on like the jacket and stuff before you call it done, just to get that cleared up. But the last thing I want to show you is it's called shape keys, and we're going to control some different shape keys with the rig that we have set up already. I'm going to go ahead and save this as part 26. Okay, save. And what I want to do is when he smiles or moves the corner of his mouth up, I want to give him a little bit of wrinkle right here across his face, maybe a little dimple over there. So let's go over here to our shape keys here, and we're going to add one. And this says, hey, we're going to start working with shape keys. We need a basis to go off of. So this is our standard shape basis. That's what all the other shape keys are going to be defined through. So if you edit this one, it's going to mess up, or it's not going to mess up, but it's going to set that to be the base shape. And you know, so anyway, so we set our basis, then we got to create a new one. Okay, and this will be our first key, and let's call this one smile. Okay, and then let's go into edit mode. You know what, let's go ahead and grab these teeth and go ahead and hide those the way they were. Okay, so now we're in edit mode. Let's grab some of these vertices right here, and let's make sure we have our mirror, X mirror turned on. Yes. Okay. So let's make use of some of these extra loops we have in here, and let's get this vertex and let's drag it way back, and then maybe drag this guy up, maybe this guy over a little bit. So we're kind of creating a dimple right here, like so. And then let's also create like a little wrinkle coming out. Like so. And if we go to our modifiers and turn on the use modifier while in edit mode subsurf, there we go. We can kind of see it as we're doing it, as it's being smoothed. So let's set these, get a nice smile line as he's smiling, or just moving his mouth up in that area. Okay, so we'll tab out, and let's go back to our object data here. And if you just click and drag your value over here, left and right, you can kind of see it taking effect. So when we smile, we want it to go into that, to give it those wrinkles like that. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's turn on this layer right here, and we're going to set this bone right here as the controller of that shape. So the way we do that, actually before we do that, I want to show you one thing. We have two sides of the face. We don't want one bone controlling both sides. We just want it controlling one side. So a way we divide this up, let's go ahead and turn this layer off again. Okay, is we need to set some more vertex groups. So let's go up here and just create a new one. Okay, and then we'll select half of the head, like so, and let's name this left half. Okay, I used all capitals just because I wanted to. And we'll just go ahead and assign that. And then let's select all of this side, and we'll create a new group and call this right half. Okay, and assign those. Okay, so now if we tab back out of edit mode there, we can say, hey, we need to create a copy of this smile, so let's run it all the way up to 100%, and boom, create a copy. And let's call this one, go back to that first one and call this one smile left, and then this one will be smile right. Okay, so let's set that all the way down to 0, and now you can see they both do the same thing, but we need to control which one does which side of the face. So we got smile left, and right here where you see blend, you can pick which vertex group it uses. So if we click on there, we can say we want this one to be on the left half. Okay, so then we do that one. You see it's only on the left side. And do the same thing over on here. Just choose right half, and it's doing the same thing. Okay, now to actually get the bones to control that, we right click here on the number and say add driver, and these bones are going to drive those. It's going to do it. Okay, now let's go over here to, that's our toolbar, tool shelf. Let's split this window up. Okay, and we'll go to the graph editor over here, and right here where it says F curve, change that to drivers. Let's make this window a little bit bigger. Okay, and then we'll hit N to turn on our properties, and let's hit the little down arrow there and grab our smile left. Let's make this a little bit smaller too. Okay, now here's some settings you're going to need to change to get that to work. First thing, you're going to we're going to add actually the type. Make this bigger so I can actually see it a little better. Right here where it says scripted expression, change that to averaged value. Okay, and now add a variable. And it says an error, but that's just because we haven't put any data in yet. So we need to go down to single property, change that to transform channel, and then right here in the box, click that and say armature, because that's the name of our skeleton. We can rename it if you like, but right now it's named armature. And then the bone we want to use is going to be the mouth corner.l. Type typo on that. Okay, so we need to tell it to... Now, Blender default uses, I think I might have explained this before, the typical 3D space is going to be X, which is horizontal, Y, which is vertical, and then Z, which is depth. And the general 3D window that Blender uses is it flips the Y and Z, so it says Z is up and down and Y is the depth. But over here, these transform channels, they rely on the standard X, Y, Z locations, or the coordinates. So if we want to move when we move the corner up and down, we want to say we're moving it on the Y location. And we want to make sure it's set in the local space. Now, if we grab that guy and we move him up, you can kind of see it starts to put those wrinkles in way up there though. So we want it to take effect a lot faster than that. So let's set this number right here, down here in the generator. Need to bump that up. Let's bump it up to 3, see how that works. And now if we move this, you can see those wrinkles starting in. Still needs to be a little higher. Let's jump up to 5. And there we go. Maybe even a little bit more. Let's try 7. There we go. And we can also affect some of the... We need to expand the weight of this stretch bone here, so it covers more than just this area here, so it covers this whole area. So anyways, so that's how you get that driver on there. Now say you want to do the other side, but you don't want to go through and set it all up again. Let's go ahead and clear out that location there. But you don't have to. It's easy thing. Let's grab our model, go back to our shape keys here, and we just set up the left side. So we can say, just right click on there again, except this time instead of add driver, you're going to go copy driver. And now we'll go down to smile right, click on the numbers, and instead of add, we're going to paste. Okay, now you'll come over here and you see it automatically adds that one. And just click on that one. And the only thing you need to change now is the bone that it's going to be affected by. So just click on here and delete that, and we'll say mouth corner right. So now we grab this one. The shapes are added on there. So that's how you do that. You can go ahead and do them for your forehead wrinkles, maybe for a squint, or any other skin surface things that you want to happen when you move the bones. So that's that. Before I close, like I said, I want to go ahead and expand the paint of the stretch bones here. If I can grab the right one. There we go. Let's go ahead and merge these two windows back together. And add is right. Let's go ahead and actually let's set blur. And then just come up here. Well, that's not going to be. Set the strength up maybe. Well, no, let's go back to add. And set the strength back down. And just kind of come up here, paint it a little higher. Okay, so we'll go back to object mode. And now before we call him done, let's go ahead and put this guy into a pretty cool looking pose. Let's say he's looking over here. Oh, that's what's going on. Okay, when we applied everything to the head, we missed this, which it's good to move your skeleton or your armature around so you can find things like this before you go and render something. So this looks like the inside of the nostrils. They missed the boat when we were painting that, so let's go ahead and go to weight paint. And we have our head selected already, so all we got to do is just click on there, boom, they're automatically added in there. So go back to object mode, and let's go ahead and, as we were saying, let's go ahead and put him into a kind of a cool looking pose. Maybe he's looking over there, cocking one of his eyebrows. Maybe sneering a little bit. Okay, maybe that's not the coolest pose, but you can play with it until you get the kind of pose you want. Let's go ahead and save this. Render mount see what our Johnny Blender 2.0 looks like. Take it just a second to render as usual. May not be the best pose. Kind of got some variation on the lip there, I guess, where we had to repaint that or fix that up. Okay, looks like we have some issues on the mouth here. The same thing that was inside the nose. We missed something on our mesh when we were painting the weights. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. This probably needs to be attached to the jaw. So let's do that. Weight paint, grab the jawbone. There we go. And just zoom in here and paint those on there. See where that's coming from. Let's zoom in here. It's actually coming from the teeth. Oh, it's the inside of the mouth. I must have missed that. So let's tab out. Let's unhide the mouth. And let's select. Let's get our faces. Oops. Face select. There we go. Okay, now let's Control L. And okay, that's what's missing. We didn't select this as well last time. Control L. There we go. Now go up to the jaw. There it is. And assign. So now we tab out. And everything's copacetic. Okay. So let's come to object mode. That was kind of a weird pose. Let's try something different. Maybe looking down, something like that. Okay, and like I said, some good lighting will really make a render look a lot better. So let's set up some nice lighting here. This one's really low. This one is pretty high. So we'll get some nice crisscross shadows there. Let's go to our ambient occlusion. Let's go ahead and turn that off. We can get some better shadow play if we just turn that off. So go ahead and save and render again. And I'll go ahead and pause this time so you don't have to sit there and wait. So be right back. Okay, there we go. See, it kind of gives it a little bit more realism if you put some nice shadow play on there. Again, I don't really care for this particular pose, but you can sit there and play with it for as long as you like. Take as many shots as you can, as many as you want. It's all up to you. You have just created your moderately lifelike, realistic 3D model. So I just want to say thanks for watching this whole series if you have, and hopefully I've taught you a thing or two about my style of creating a fairly photorealistic figure. So again, thanks for watching, and I'm sure we'll meet again at some point. So thanks for watching. Goodbye.